When people talk about the Ryder Cup, they usually think of legendary golf, fierce competition, and national pride. The Ryder Cup is one of those rare sporting events that transcends the game itself, capturing the imagination of fans across continents. It's a stage where the best golfers from Europe and the United States come together, not just to compete, but to represent their countries, their cultures, and their sporting traditions. The atmosphere is always electric, the stakes are always high, and the memories, both triumphant and heartbreaking, last a lifetime. But what if I told you that the 2025 Ryder Cup at Bethpage Black became infamous for something far more troubling? Something that went way beyond the fairways and the final scores. This was a year when the drama off the course overshadowed the action on it, and the world of golf was forced to confront some uncomfortable truths about the darker side of sports fandom. This time it wasn't just about golf, it was about the dark side of sports fandom, the kind of behavior that makes headlines for all the wrong reasons. The energy in the stands was electric, but it quickly turned toxic, revealing just how thin the line can be between passion and hostility. Fans who had traveled from all over the world to witness history found themselves caught up in a whirlwind of emotions. And for some, those emotions boiled over into something ugly. The cheers and chants that usually fuel the players became a weapon, a way to intimidate and unsettle, rather than to celebrate the game. It was a stark reminder that while sports can bring out the best in people, they can also, under the wrong circumstances, bring out the worst. Let's break down why this event became a global talking point. The Ryder Cup is always intense, but at Bethpage Black, things spiraled out of control. The headlines weren't about incredible shots or dramatic comebacks. They were about chaos, controversy, and a level of fan behavior that shocked even the most seasoned golf veterans. News outlets around the world ran stories not about the golf, but about the mayhem in the stands. Social media was ablaze with videos and first-hand accounts of what many described as the most hostile environment ever seen at a golf tournament. The Ryder Cup, usually a showcase for sportsmanship and camaraderie, had become a cautionary tale about what happens when the spirit of competition is lost to anger and aggression. Rory McIlroy, one of the sport's brightest stars and a fan favorite, found himself at the center of a storm. Throughout the tournament, he endured relentless heckling from the crowd, shouts, jeers, and personal insults that went way beyond the usual banter. For McIlroy, who has always prided himself on his composure and professionalism, the abuse was unlike anything he had ever experienced, but it didn't stop there. In a shocking moment, a beer was thrown at his wife, Erica Stoll, as she watched from the gallery. The abuse was so intense that it left both McIlroy and his family visibly shaken. For many, this was the moment when things crossed a line, a moment that would be replayed and discussed endlessly in the days and weeks that followed. The image of Erica Stoll, startled and distressed, became a symbol of just how far things had gone. It wasn't just about a game anymore. It was about the safety and dignity of the people involved. The atmosphere was nothing short of chaotic. Security struggled to keep things under control, as tempers flared and emotions boiled over. What should have been a celebration of golf turned into a cautionary tale about what happens when fans forget the spirit of the game. Security personnel, who are usually tasked with maintaining order in a relatively calm environment, suddenly found themselves overwhelmed. There were reports of altercations in the stands, fans being ejected, and even players expressing concern for their own safety. The sense of unease was palpable, and for many it was a wake-up call about the need for better crowd management and stricter enforcement of codes of conduct at major sporting events. Behind the scenes, tournament organizers scrambled to respond. Extra security was brought in, and officials held emergency meetings to discuss how to de-escalate the situation. But the damage had already been done. The world was watching, and the reputation of the Ryder Cup, and of golf itself, was on the line. For many fans, especially those who had brought their families to the event, the experience was tainted by fear and uncertainty. Parents covered their children's ears, and some even left the grounds early, unwilling to expose their loved ones to the hostility that had taken over the stands. PGA of America CEO Derek Sprague didn't waste any time addressing the situation. He issued a strong condemnation of the crowd's behavior, stating, "There's no place for that at the Ryder Cup, no place for it in golf." His words echoed across the sports world as players, fans, and commentators called for accountability and change. Sprague's statement was more than just damage control. It was a call to action. He acknowledged that the events at Bethpage Black had exposed serious flaws in the way the tournament was managed, and he promised that the PGA would do everything in its power to restore the integrity of the event. For many, his words were a welcome sign that the organization was taking the issue seriously, but others wondered if it was too little, too late. Sprague went a step further, reaching out personally to Rory McIlroy and his family to offer a heartfelt apology. He promised that the PGA would take immediate action to ensure that such incidents would never happen again. For McIlroy, the apology was a necessary gesture, but the damage had already been done. The emotional toll on him and his family was clear, and the incident raised important questions about the responsibility of sports organizations to protect not just their players, but their families as well. In private conversations, McIlroy reportedly expressed his disappointment, not just with the fans, but with the system that allowed things to get so out of hand. The apology, while appreciated, could not erase the trauma of the experience. But not everyone within the PGA saw things the same way. PGA President Don Rea downplayed the incident, suggesting that rowdy fans were just part of the sports experience. His comments sparked outrage, especially among European players and fans, who felt that dismissing the abuse was both insensitive and offensive. The divide within the organization became a story in itself, highlighting the challenges of balancing tradition, passion, and respect. Rea's remarks were seen by many as a reflection of a broader problem in sports culture, a tendency to excuse bad behavior as part of the game, rather than confronting it head-on. The backlash was swift, with players and commentators from both sides of the Atlantic calling for a more serious approach to fan conduct. The controversy exploded on social media, with fans and pundits around the world weighing in. Some argued that the Ryder Cup's unique atmosphere is what makes it special, but many more insisted that there's no excuse for personal attacks or violence, no matter how high the stakes. Hashtags like "You respect the game and protect the players" began trending, as people shared their own stories of sportsmanship and called for a return to the values that make golf great. The debate raged on talk shows, podcasts, and online forums, with everyone from former players to casual fans offering their opinions on what needed to change. The consensus was clear. Something had to be done, and soon. Even the event's MC, Heather McMahon, found herself caught up in the fallout. After leading a chant that many considered to be in poor taste, she faced intense criticism and ultimately resigned from her role. Her departure was a stark reminder that words and actions matter, especially on a stage as big as the Ryder Cup. For McMahon, a comedian known for her quick wit and irreverent humor, the incident was a painful lesson in the power of influence. Her resignation sent shockwaves through the event, and served as a warning to others about the importance of setting the right tone, both on and off the course. The events at Bethpage Black also sparked a broader conversation about the psychology of sports fandom. Experts weighed in, pointing out that while passion is a vital part of any sporting event, it can easily tip into aggression if not properly managed. Sports psychologists explained how group dynamics, alcohol, and the high stakes of international competition can create a perfect storm for bad behavior. They called for more education, not just for fans, but for players and officials as well, about how to handle pressure and maintain respect for the game. The hope was that by understanding the root causes of these incidents, future tournaments could be safer and more enjoyable for everyone involved. The message from all of this: fans can be passionate, and rivalries can be fierce, but there's a line that should never be crossed. Respect for the players, their families, and the game itself has to come first. The events at Bethpage Black forced everyone, players, officials, and fans alike, to reflect on what kind of atmosphere they want at one of golf's most prestigious tournaments. It was a moment of reckoning, a chance to ask hard questions about what kind of legacy the Ryder Cup should leave behind. Should it be remembered for its drama and excitement, or for its commitment to fairness and respect? The answer, for most, was clear. The spirit of the game must always come first. With the next Ryder Cup set to take place in Ireland in 2027, all eyes are on the organizers to see what changes will be made. Will there be stricter security, new codes of conduct for fans? The world will be watching to see if the lessons from Bethpage Black lead to a renewed focus on respect and sportsmanship. Organizers have already begun consulting with experts, reviewing security protocols, and considering new initiatives to promote positive fan behavior. There's talk of educational campaigns, increased penalties for misconduct, and even designated family zones to ensure that everyone can enjoy the event in safety and comfort. The hope is that Ireland, with its rich golfing tradition and famously warm hospitality, can set a new standard for what the Ryder Cup should be. The future of the Ryder Cup, and of golf itself, depends on the choices made in the wake of this controversy. Will the sport rise to the challenge and reaffirm its commitment to respect, or will it allow the mistakes of the past to define its legacy? For many, the answer lies in the hands of the fans, the players, and the officials who love the game. It's a chance to come together, to learn from what went wrong, and to build something better for the next generation. The world will be watching, and the stakes have never been higher. In the end, the Ryder Cup is about more than just winning or losing. It's about skill, heart, and a little bit of class. Let's hope that as the tournament moves forward, everyone remembers what makes golf great, and that the spirit of the game shines brighter than any controversy. The lessons of Bethpage Black will not be forgotten, and with renewed commitment, the Ryder Cup can once again be a celebration of everything that is good and noble about the sport of golf.